Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast. We're sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, Goebel Septic, and Americool Heating and Cooling. I'm Aaron Van Tile, joined by the Chronicle sports crew, Dylan Wilhelm, Zach Martin, and Kody Kristen. We are back. We took some time off while Zach was on paternity leave, but he is back and ready to roll. He's got the glow of a happy new father about him.
Amen.
Surely he's been getting all of his sleep like he always has.
Oh, absolutely. Getting more sleep, actually.
That's
might be better now, yeah.
That's wild. How is baby Zach?
It's not baby Zach. It's baby Theo.
Good name.
Theo's doing good. Happy and healthy. Mom, my girlfriend Skylar, happy and healthy. We're getting as much sleep as we can, but he's a little bundle of joy, and I still pinch myself that I'm his dad and that I'm a dad. I still can't believe it's real, but it is
a round of applause button.
It's a life-changing experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
All right, congratulations. We're very happy for you. We're also happy it's the heart of winter sports season. And
those two things are definitely the same.
We'll go through some highlights of the first half of the season and get back up to speed. We'll start with Lewis County's favorite league, the C2BL. The Adna boys are a perfect 8-0 in league play. They sit atop the standings alone after beating Napavine on Saturday. Napavine is in second at 7-1. The rest of the league shapes up like so. Toledo's in third, 6-2. Rainier's fourth at 5-4 after a blistering start. Onalaska's 4-5. Winlock and Morton White Pass are both 3-6. Mossy Rock 2-7. Tudor Lake 1-8. So we'll start there. What has surprised you guys about the first half of the C2BL league season?
Adna's doing better than I thought they would without, Braden Salmi, Jens Nielsen. They lost a few guys. I didn't know Jackson Knittel has kind of emerged as a force inside for them. Trevin Salmi keeps hitting threes several a game most of the time. Gavin Muller is kind of taking a lead role as well.
He had a big night against Napvine, 20-14.
Yeah. That was actually probably our most recent C2BL game. I don't think there was another one this past Saturday. Adna beat Napavine 47-40. Little some feistiness in that game. Kody was there too.
A little chippy. Game. There was some competing being done out there.
Classic competition.
We were talking about it at halftime, and I know they're high school kids, so we can't treat them like, we can't allow it to go super far. But
nonsense.
You get a hack on a dunk, you get a shove in. They both get their chops. Tee them both up, shoot your free throws, and move on. I was happy with the way it was handled. I'm glad it didn't escalate, obviously.
Some Facebook commenters disagreed and said it was the worst refereeing they'd ever seen in their entire lives.
Mm-hmm. I think I heard that comment from both sides, actually.
Yeah, I think I've heard that comment at every basketball game I've ever attended.
The Mossy Rock faithful was not happy in Toledo last week either, but alas.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really good game. Tudor Lake, I knew they lost some pieces.
Looks like they lost a lot of pieces.
I didn't realize they lost that much. I think they just got their first win last week after starting like 0-10.
Yeah.
I knew it'd be a kind of a rebuild year for them, but to see them that far down and with only one win in the win column is surprising to me.
Didn't you tell me before the season started that Toledo had graduated some pieces and that we were kind of wondering what this year would look like for Toledo? I feel like 6-2 is a little bit better than I think both and I had thought they'd be at this point.
Yeah, Cooper Fallon's.
Are you doing a take shame here?
No, I'm not doing a take shame. We were having discussions about where the C2BL was going to shake out, and we figured it'd be Adna, Napavine, maybe Tootle, but I think we kind of
we really overestimated Tootle.
Really overestimated Tootle, but probably underestimated Toledo.
Yeah, Cooper Fallon has turned into a walking double-double. I think he's had a double-double in every game except one, and even in that game, he got 15-plus rebounds. It was just an off-night scoring for him. Tice Vigri, I believe, from Mossy is now at Toledo now.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a solid piece for them. Eli Weeks, Adam Kruger, they have some pieces, and they've kind of come together nicely. Grady's obviously going to have his boys ready to go whenever. I think their only two losses are Napavine and Adna to this point. And, once you get into that district tournament, who knows, especially when you start playing teams to the Pacific, you only need, 3 or 4 wins to get through. So I could see it happening.
Yeah, Napavine has been, I wouldn't say a surprise. Like, we knew they were going to be good, but they don't appear to have skipped much of a beat from graduating James Gross and then Rex Stanley stepping down and the new coach coming. Eric, what's his
Eric
last name?
Herzman.
Herzman. Yeah, he's doing a very nice job. They got a good team. Denault being so big and such a stat machine and so athletic and everything, they remind me a little bit of Morton White Pass a few years ago when Matt Poquette was there. Just a big guy that can kind of do everything, and he's going to be the focal point of the defense. And kind of the blueprint on him is usually if you can shut that guy down, which is very difficult to do, you'll have a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they look like a front runner. Adna, of course, looks very good. I was a little surprised they beat Napine, frankly.
I was as well. Carson Denault, Adna shut him down. He only shot, I think, 3 for 20 in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Nelson got a ton of rebounds inside, but he didn't have a very good night shooting either. It was a very hard-nosed, gritty, game, and I think Adna's kind of thriving in this. I don't want to call it chaos ball because it's not like that, wild, but I think that's the kind of game that they're starting to. That's their style of play, is what I'm trying to say.
And this game was in Adna, right?
Yes,
and they will play in Napavine as well.
Yep.
Adna took a lot of charges that game too.
Yeah, it was. There was at least 5 in the first half alone. I probably should have mentioned that. I don't think I did, but
I think that was
in
big.
the story. It will not be the last game of the league year, though. So if you look at it right now, Adna and Napavine play each other, and then they're going to start their second go through the league schedule starting, this week.
Yeah.
But that was a rescheduled game from before the Christmas break.
Oh, so okay.
They'll meet again, I think, at the 4th or 5th rotation.
I think it's
however the league
January
schedule.
29th is the second meeting, and Napavine on Wednesday night.
Cool. Sweet. All right. Who sticks out as a state contender from among those teams for you guys?
Kind of just mentioned Adna, Napavine, Toledo, I think are easily the top 3, as the standings would indicate. That 4th spot gets a little interesting. It's only 4 spots this year instead of 5, which we'll touch on for the girls. I think that impacts the girls' side.
It impacts the girls way more than the boys.
Rainier is lingering there. Obviously, I think they're in 4th as a team that, I think they're still missing one of the Meldrums. They were missing Hunter Howell for a while. I still don't know if they've been at full strength at any point, yet they continue to beat the teams they need to beat in order to stay in that top 4 or 5 seeding purpose-wise.
Right.
And I'm not sure. I know Ani's played Raymond a couple times, and I'm using Raymond as kind of my Pacific basis now.
Okay.
As of now, because that's all I've really seen or heard from.
I'm pulling up the PWL stands right now. So Forks is the best team in the they're at 12-2 overall. They're the only unbeaten in the league, and then it's pretty much a hodgepodge after that. Ilwaco's 4-7, RSB is 3-8, North Beach is 3-9, and then Chief Lachey 0-13.
Okay.
So it sounds like Forks.
So
it sounds like Forks is going to be the one Pacific team that could spoil having the C2BL get all 4 teams through.
All right. The first part of the year has also included some memorable milestones. Feels like we had a dozen of these last week, but
I was
Morton White Pass' Judah Kelly and Napavine's Carson Denault both passed 1,000 career points. Good for them.
Yeah, there was a lot of captions with poses with a photo for a photo with a commemorative basketball.
Whoever's Alderson's Award West is just making money hand over fist selling those commemorative basketballs right now.
Felt like there was one every 2 days for a while.
What did Judah Kelly? What's he averaging? It feels like he's
got to
just
be 30 something.
A ton of points.
20 plus, high 20s, low 30s.
Nice.
But that's kind of been the story too against some of these better teams in the C2BL. It wasn't a league game. They were playing Kalama.
Yeah.
He put up 34, give or take.
Pretty good.
They lost.
All right, and moving on to the girls, the league season just got underway, and it's crowded at the top early. Tootle, Adna, Napavine, Onalaska, and Rainier are all in the top 12 in the latest RPI rankings. Oh, thank God we've got RPI back.
Your favorite.
Only gets 4 spots at state. Who's the front runner there? And we should have done this for the boys. Oh, let's bounce back to the boys real quick. Who's your MVP front runner on the boys side? Denault?
Denault.
Denault.
All right.
But if Adna wins the league, would you probably say Muller or Salmi?
I think they split the
I'd
vote.
almost still go to Denault, honestly.
Yeah.
I think if he keeps having games like he's been having, I think Muller can definitely be in the conversation.
That's true. The 2014 game against Napavine, especially if you could duplicate that against Napavine again later down the line.
I think he had a similar game against Tumwater last week, right?
I believe so.
All right. So the girls' season. Tootle, Adna, Napvine, Ani, and Rainier all in the top 12 in RPI. D4 only gets 4 spots. Which 4 make it through? I'm going Adna, Napvine, Ani, and Rainier.
Who does that leave out?
I don't know much.
Tootle.
That leaves out Tootle, which I don't know much about.
Who's
other than
number 1 in
they
the
only
state
have
in
one
the
loss.
RPI, I believe, right?
I
Unbeaten.
take it back.
I threw the
Pretty
RPI
sure.
in there with the caveat that we would all shit on it,
Aaron,
which is
never-
understandable.
Aaron never shits on RPI.
No.
I like RPI for what it is. It's a talking point.
It's a baseline.
Mhm.
It's not the end all be all by any means, but it's something
It's
that
a list of teams.
it's something that got mentioned on Twitter as soon as it dropped. Like
It always does.
Only 4. One of those teams is just going to get left out just by virtue of there not being enough spots, which kind of sucks. But
Then Toodle's 12 and they just started up league play for the girls' side. So Toodle's 12-1, Adna 10-1, Onalaska 9-1, Rainier 9-2, Napavine 8-3, and then Toledo's also lurking there at 9-3. And then Mossy Rock 5-6, Winlock 2-9, MWP 7-5 is the overall stands.
Yeah.
But only Tootle, Toledo, Adna, and Napavine have won league games to this point.
yeah, they're only doing 1 league game each against each other.
Okay.
That way, some of those teams up top don't have to play 2 games against. Because like Adna, instead of playing 2 games against one of the teams on the lower half of that, they only have to play 1 game and they can go schedule a White River or a Olympia. Adna's been testing themselves early. Their first 2B opponent was Rainier, their league opener. Other than that, they've played 4As, 3As, you name it, insert number A, and their only loss was White River, which is a 2-loss 3A team. Which, you kind of mentioned a minute ago who would be the front runner. I would lean them just because of the gauntlet they had non-league to get through that almost entirely unscathed.
All right. Congratulations are in order for Adna's Carson Freeman, who passed 2,000 career points in late December. And let's go MVP watch here, too. Freeman's probably the front runner.
Freeman, yeah.
I haven't seen Tootle yet, but I'd be stunned if they have someone with that capability.
Yeah, she's been putting out. It feels like every time you check the box score, she's got 30.
35, yeah.
Hayden Kaut obviously is probably in the conversation. And who's the kid from Onalaska?
Jacoby.
Emily Jacoby's
She's been
putting
having
up a
a hell of a
lot,
season.
yeah.
A ton of points.
And
And then
then
Rainier's got some studs too.
Angelica Askey's still doing her thing. I think Bryn Beckman's back. I think she missed some time, but I think she was back for the Adna game. Rainier, they only lost by, I want to say 10-15 to Adna last week.
I want to say that was like 50-37.
Yeah,
maybe,
that sounds
somewhere in
right.
that ballpark.
Yeah.
It's
It's going to be really, like, one of these teams is going to have a really good year, and it's not going to be enough to get to Spokane, which is unfortunate in the long run.
And you mentioned Toledo, too. Toledo has won a lot of games in the 30s and 40s. I was at Toledo last week for Mossy Rock Toledo. Final score was 27-22. Both defenses were just going crazy. It was 14-12 after the third.
Sounds awesome.
It was close.
Uh-huh. All right, this podcast brought to you by Goebel Septic, providing septic service and portable sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grays Harbor counties. Septic pumping inspection and riser installation, commercial septic pumping, grease trap services, and of course, they'll rent you a porta potty and even a sink to go with it. Visit goebelseptic.com. That's GOEBEL septic.com, or give them a call at 360-736-2167. We now move on to the EVCO. And on the girls' side, WF West is 12-1 and 2-0 in league play. Julia Dalen continues to be pretty dominant, but now she's got a outstanding sidekick in Dylan Beck. They're forming a nice 1-2 punch. And then Centralia and Black Hills are hovering around 500. They're both 0-2 in league play. Tumwater's 3-9 and 1-1 in league play. Seems like the rest of the league not quite as strong as WF West.
Yeah, it's WF West to lose pretty easily. Zach mentioned this in his kind of preseason outlook about a month or so ago, and he was talking about, obviously they have Dalen, but the question, how high can the ceiling really go, was about how Dylan Beck and Caitlin Klopak and some of these other sophomores could step in and, play better than they did a year ago. Obviously, they didn't play bad last year, but just as freshmen, you would expect that jump. I mean, Dylan Beck, we were talking a little bit ago, might be right up there with Dalen for MVP conversations by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been putting up 20+, 30+ some games, taking over games.
It seems like every time I see, the Twitter account for WFS, mentioned the final and then who scored. It just seems like Beck is always around high 20s, low 30s. It seems like, I think she's got a compelling argument to be FCO MVP. And, if WFS goes far and she's right there with Dalen in terms of scoring, I see no reason why there can't be an argument where she's all area MVP with how well she's playing. It's been, you hope that one of those sophomores or even Riley Beebe would take that step, and Beck has, and that increases what WFS can do for, as we look to February and March.
All right, on the boys' side, Tumwater and Black Hills are off to strong starts in league play, while WFS and Centralia both sit at 0-2. Any thoughts on the EVCO boys' action thus far?
The WFS offense has not impressed me very much. Shocker, right? They put up 31 against Tumwater and then like 43 against Black Hills. Super hot take over here. That's kind of a team too. I know they lost Klatouche, Lucas Hoff, some other guys, but I guess we haven't touched on Tenino yet. We'll get to that. But it's kind of just like you're expecting more and you feel that they're capable of more. But at some point, the wins have to start coming. We're getting to that point in the year where you start to you kind of are who you are now. And you're running out of time to quickly change that. Whereas the first month, it's kind of like, they'll get into it. And then they start league play with a couple of losses and you're behind the 8 ball immediately. I don't know. I'm just kind of looking for more from them to start. I know that's obviously two good teams in Tumwater and Black Hills. They're not losing to bums, but I just kind of expected a little more from the early part of this year for them.
Yeah, it'll sort it. The top of the EVCO boys will sort itself out. It'll be in some shape or order, like I said preseason, and Aaron was like, "Oh, that's such a hot take." It'll be Black Hills, Tumwater, WFS, like it always is. So it'll shape up eventually.
All right. Do you guys think the WFS girls will be the only local 2A team in Yakima?
I do.
Yeah,
kind of looks like it at this point.
Unless something drastically changes.
The South is really good too.
Yeah, the South is really good in boys. Mark Morris hasn't dropped off, even with their longtime head coach retiring. Columbia River's really good, and there's one other really good. Ari Long is good for boys. So unless something drastically changes for one of the EVCO teams, then I think WFS girls will probably be the lone representative at the Sun Dome.
Are they a title contender?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think the ceiling is. I think the floor is semifinals. I think that's the
bar
floor.
High.
I know there's some good 2A teams outside of district. I'd say quarters. Anything less than quarters, I'd be shocked.
I mean, they've gotten the win over. They beat. Who did they beat early in the season? They beat Prosser, or I can't remember who they beat early in the season, but they beat a really good 2A team. That was a state that went far in state last year. So long as you get Dalen and Beck performing as well they are, I think semifinals is the floor, and I think a state championship is the ceiling, but we'll see.
Yeah, I know you still got Ellensburg out there. You still got Prosser. A lot of these good Clarkston. The teams
That's
from
who
down
they beat.
south.
They beat Clarkston. They beat Clarkston early in the season.
Redmond's only got one loss. There's a couple teams up north that only have one loss. But yeah.
Before we move on, another milestone to touch on. WFS Amanda Bennett set the school's career assist record, and the Bearcats win over Tumwater last week.
Yeah, so Kyle Karnofsky, I went to that game I didn't know she was within reach of that. It was just kind of the only game that we weren't covering that night. So I show up, and Lucas Hoff's mom, Patty, she sends us some photos sometimes. She's there. And she's like, yeah, Amanda's close. She might hit it tonight. And I go, oh, how many does she need? And she goes, Kyle won't tell her. And I was like, oh, I'm assuming it was some kind of mental thing where Kyle Karnofsky, WFS coach, just wouldn't tell her exactly the number. He said, you're close. And by the middle of the third, so I walked up to Kyle, and I said, hey, I won't tell her. Can you just let me know so I know to be on the lookout for it? It was 5, I think. 5 to tie, 6 to break.
Mm-hmm.
Halftime, she's got 4.
Yeah.
And in the second half, she's the point guard, so they're running the offense through her anyway. She feeds it into Dalen. Dalen, there was at least 2 just kind of missed layups where Dalen would normally make them. And they both would just look at each other and start laughing. And I was like, somebody told her, she knows. And so I'm talking to Amanda after the game, and I was like, so you didn't know, and then you found out, or what happened there? She's like, well, yeah, coach wasn't going to tell me. And then like in the middle of the third, he just looks at me and is like, can we just get this over with? You're 2 away. Like, we're up 30, you know, we're going to bench some people at some point. Like, just
You're really dragging this out.
And so she said that kind of gave her a spark. She was like, I thought it was 9 away, and I was trying to count in my own head, which probably isn't a good idea, but yeah, congrats to her. That was a fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
He was thinking they were going to get it done in the first half and then be able to sub the entire bench in the second half.
She's going to set more records for them. She's a 4-year starter. She'll get steals, minutes, starts, games played. Yeah. Maybe not starts, but games played. And the basketball that they gave her, it said like Amanda Bennett career records, and it was actually blank on like the next panel because they'll fill it all in at the end of the year.
The record she broke was held by Maggie Vidala, who I think graduated in 2020 and was a pretty good point guard for him.
And Julia Dalen should be somewhat close to the points record.
No, she's already at the points. Remember, that was early in the season. The second game of the year, she broke the points, the career points.
Right?
Yeah, I thought she'd already broken it.
Yeah, she already broke points.
Right, never mind. I forgot about that.
She's close on a couple other records. I think blocks might be, or she already has blocks. I don't know. I'm going to have to scroll through the record book that Kyle always sends us every year and see what's due up next.
Yeah, shout out to WFS 2 for actually having the stats because that's what someone retweeted the story on Twitter and was like, congrats to Amanda and shout out to WFS for actually knowing who their career assist record leader is.
Yeah, they do a good job of tracking all that.
A lot of high schools just don't.
This podcast brought to you by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. While they still have promotional financing available on the Synchrony Home collection, sign up for a Synchrony Home credit card and you get a sweet discount on something. Hold on, it's blocking me from seeing the pop-up ad. I think it's mattresses.
Aaron Gentile.
Blocked. Sick mattresses. It's not loading. But anyway, visit elamshf.com.
Womp womp.
Learn more about this sweet mattress and credit card deal. Or, outfit your living room, your bedroom, your dining room, your entertainment center. Get some accents, some throw pillows and whatnot. Some duvets. I don't know what you're into.
Do you have throw pillows or duvets, Aaron?
I believe I have one pillow that came with the free couch I sit on.
Nice.
Look, I don't own any new furniture.
Well, why? Well, if you did, where would you go?
I'd go to Elam's Home Furnishings and Sleep Center.
Absolutely.
I do need a new dresser.
Do you really? Oh, boy, do I have an ad for you.
The bottom of the shelves
won't load,
of mine
but I'm sure it's great.
If I put more than one dresser drawer, if I put more than like 3 pairs of pants in there, the bottom just kind of falls out of it. So.
Well, you wear heavy pants, man. That's the issue.
I wear the pants around here, man. What can I say?
What if I could interest you in a Culverbach dresser and mirror?
Ooh.
A mirror as well.
Look at this.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You put your sick Carhartt shirt on that you got at Shayless Outfitters. You turn around in front of this bad boy and you think, hell yeah, time to go get it.
Completely podcast sponsored.
and you look up and you're like, oh, I'm so protected by my roof from the roof doctor.
Yeah. If you want to feel just as comfortable and secure as Kody.
Outside to my Goebel.
We're getting blasted by Americool heating AC.
Nice and cool and or warm.
Yeah. Visit Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery online at elamshf.com or stop by their showroom at 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia. Shall we take a quick look at the 1A Evergreen League?
Yeah.
The Toronto boys seem to be figuring things out after a slow start to the year. They're just 4-11, but they've won 2 of their last 3 league games so far, including a win over Elma. Can they make it to districts and go on a run?
I think so. I kind of just hinted at this with the WFS boys, but this is a team where, you think the talent's there, you expect them to be playing better, and then the first 12 games come and go, and you're just like, where are the wins?
Yeah.
The offense isn't clicking, and they're not scoring nearly as many points as they should be that you expected, and there's not really a clear answer why. It's just kind of like this offense is just in a funk for some reason. They did beat Elma the other day. They did beat Hoquiam, and league is really all that matters at the end of the day. And they do seem to be fully healthy again. I know they were missing Jack Burkhart for a while. I know Will Feltus missed a couple games. They still have Austin Gagne. So they still have talented playmakers. And they do seem to be now finally getting into that rhythm that, we were just saying at some point you got to get it going or it's too late. So maybe they've just won 2 of 3 and they'll slide back down. But I'm expecting them to kind of continue this and have that start being the pass.
I think it's pretty evident what has gone wrong, and it's with Noah Scout transferring to Annie Wright and with how much he was responsible for just being that pure scorer for them last year. It's clear that seeing him transfer in the summer that has affected them heading, this winter of trying to figure out, who does the offense run through? How do we score? Like who's going to be the main focal point scoring wise now? And I think it probably took longer than Ryan Robertson wanted, but if they host Montesano next Monday, and that'll probably be their first big league test because Monty still is the only unbeaten still in the league. I know it's early at 3-0, but that'll be a real test for them to kind of see if can they get back to it's somewhat of their form last year and find a way to get a late season push into get through districts and maybe get to Yakima again.
All right, now on to some bad news. The Rochester boys are 0-12, and the Tenino and Rochester girls are both winless in league play so far. Any bright spots to pull out of those ones?
Tenino has more wins this year than last year.
All right.
They haven't won a league game yet, but they seem to be building. Kirsty Gofinch, the new coach there. They've got some pieces. Bria Sai, I believe is how you say her name. Georgia Gore, I believe. Kylie Gagne. I hope I didn't mix those names up again, but I think that's right. They seem to be trending in the right direction. It's a young team, so the wins aren't really coming. Kind of the same with the Rochester boys. I've talked to the coach, Caleb Sells, a bunch. The wins aren't coming, but they are playing better ball in the last few weeks. You'd expect a couple wins to start to come here and there, maybe against some lower competition, but we'll see. Obviously, the records aren't where they want to be, but there's bright spots for the future.
All right, and down in the 1Bs. We should have led with this. The Pe Ell girls are a perfect 11-0.
That's true.
4 wins in league play.
Yeah.
They're looking to get back to the opening round of state, where they lost last year as the number 16 seed. What's going on with Pe Ell? How'd they do this?
Playing really well. Peyton Zock seems to be a walking double-double. Carly Phelps is kind of a jack of all trades. I think they have an 8th grader, Macy King, who has come on, and she's just kind of provided a scoring burst. Emma Kisner off the bench, was always a good 6 to 8 most nights.
There's a really good team.
They're just a solid. Yeah, I mean,
they will not be the 16 seed this year for her state.
Yeah.
I would not be stunned at all if they're a top 8 seed by if they get through districts. If they win the league and win districts, I would not be stunned at all if they're a top 8, maybe top 5 seed for 1B state tournament.
All right, yeah, cool to see for Pe Ell.
And they got 3rd last year at districts, and I think this year's team is
better.
Maybe not significantly better because last year they were still pretty solid, but I think this team very much will have a say in district title chances.
Did they graduate any big key players last year, or was it all? I know Phelps was still really good for him last year.
I don't think Zock was as good last year as
I think she's definitely taking a step up.
Improved a lot.
Sure.
That's cool. Yeah, good for Pe Ell. The Oakville girls are 7-4 and 2-2 in league play. Any news out of Oakville?
I've gotten some scores a couple times. They have a couple good scorers who, I'm sorry, I am going to butcher the names.
Here we go.
I'm not even going to try.
You're not even going to try. All right, hold on. I'll pull up an email from Kevin. He sent one recently. I still have been getting emails even while on my paternity leave. But they have been when I see the emails, I'm like, oh, that's good that they have been they've been improving. They just beat Miriam Knight by 3. Carol Ann Black had 12 points. Nene Filatuala had 12 points. 8th grader Raya Filatuala. Those names are definitely butchered, and I very apologize.
Number 30, Uelani Siufanua, also a very good player. I apologize if I mess up your names, but you are playing very good basketball.
Yeah, they're
all right. Okay, that's
well, they're playing good.
They're
Playing very well. Kevin Kavanaugh's got them playing very well. who knows? Maybe they make a run in districts.
On the boys' side, Pe Ell is 6-6 overall, but 3-1 in league play. While Oakville is at 500, but 0-3 in league. How are the Pe Ell boys looking?
Looking solid. Silas Edgar inside, Keelan McCarty. Blake Nelson has kind of emerged. A lot of the box scores I get, he's scoring in the teens a lot, somewhat consistently. Somewhat consistently, and that's a team last year, if I remember correctly, that got to a winner to state, I believe, or winner to opening round, and then lost to Willapa Valley. I don't see any reason why they couldn't get back to that point and potentially get into that opening round.
All right, this podcast brought to you by Americool Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is their business. Kody, you getting excited?
About Americool?
Yeah.
Always.
Absolutely.
Just
full service HVAC installation.
itching to be cooled over here.
Services and repair.
Heated.
With a 100% satisfaction guarantee on everything they do. Air conditioning, heating, indoor air quality, new construction, commercial HVAC, maintenance. About us. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading the site. Give them a call if you're either too hot or too cold and you're having a heating and cooling emergency. 360-669-8378.
Not a lot of companies do About Us these days.
78. No, tough to find. You want to learn more about their financing options? You could set up financing with them. You'll be a lot cooler if you do. Visit west.americoolonline.com to learn more. And then finally, we're going to talk some wrestling. There have been dozens of tournaments and meets over the last month. Who are a couple kids to keep an eye out for as Matt Classic looms about a month away?
All right, I'm definitely going to forget some kids, so I apologize. Tucker Land, WF West. I'm just going off where my mind's going. On the girls' side, Sloan Kruger, Black Hills, has not lost in a while, if at all, this year. She's won multiple tournaments in a row.
Where'd she finish state last year? She was like top 5, right?
Second at 120. 120 or 126.
Mike Uncle at Napavine, the Reinitzes at Centralia. Back on the boys' side, I think there's 3 to net claws at Centralia that seem to be having success.
The Searle kid at WF West is doing pretty well.
Yeah, Searle, Ray Scalisi, I believe is how you say his name.
I think so.
There's a Napavine wrestler boys wrestler that's pretty good too, I think. Heavyweight. I can't remember his name. I know John has talked a lot about him, but I can't remember.
Am I forgetting every wrestler? But
there's a lot of them.
Yeah, Cash Booze at
Hell yeah.
Tom Waters has been
Booze.
solid. That's a name that's easy to remember.
Name of the year.
What a king.
But yeah, there's dozens
Shout out
more.
Cash Booze.
I should have made a list is what I should have done, but those are just kind of the ones that come to mind. Probably because I've written about them recently, but
Now that I'm back, we'll get into a lot more wrestling stuff because sub regional / league and districts are coming up in about a month.
yeah,
before Matt Classic on the 20th and 20th through the 22nd at Tacoma Dome.
Yeah, Rube's done some wrestling too. Recently, this past weekend, he was at the Norton Invite in Rainier. I know a lot of our tubies were there.
All right, that's all we've got. What do you guys got coming up that you're covering this week that you're excited about?
Adna Napavine girls basketball on Wednesday in Napavine.
It's a big one.
Big one. And then
he's got the Tumwater Black Hills doubleheader on Tuesday as well.
Yeah, should be. I think the girls game. Be curious to see if Tumwater can keep it close with Black Hills and boys. I think it's going to be it'll come down to the wire, like from what I was told last year. It did.
Yeah.
So a lot of basketball, and then
I think Swamp Cup is not this week, but next week
Swamp
as well.
Cup's next week.
Girls and boys.
Nice.
Adna hosting Tootle Lake girls next week as well. Another big one.
The mysterious Tootle Lake team. Yeah. Kody, you got anything you want to talk about?
No.
You got any takes?
No.
All right.
Save them all for news dump tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wrap it up there. Thanks for listening.
My takes will be dumped on the news dump.